Greetings, my scattered brothers and sisters in the Lord. Trust you know the Lord is with you wherever you find yourself scattered today, and that you know that his presence with you is more than enough for whatever you might face today. We are still making our way through this first chapter of Paul's letter to the church at Philippi. He's prayed for them, and then he shared with them that, to everyone's surprise, what has happened to him has actually turned out for the advancement of the gospel. That his plans got blown up. He didn't go to Rome the way he intended to go to Rome and then on to Spain, but he's gone to Rome as a prisoner. And yet, as a prisoner, the whole Praetorian Guard knows that Paul is in chains for Christ, and that there are many brothers and sisters who are now preaching Christ, testifying to Christ more boldly than ever before. Now, the passage of scripture that we're working with today doesn't get a lot of attention, but it's really pretty amazing. Paul says that it's true that there are some who are preaching Christ out of envy, out of rivalry. Others preach Christ out of goodwill, and they have a great love for Paul. But there are some who are preaching Christ out of selfish ambition, and they're hoping to stir up trouble for Paul. And we don't know what that trouble is. We don't know whether they're trying to create a rift between him and some of his churches, whether because Paul's incarcerated, they're thinking that this is their time to advance and they can, exercise authority over churches where Paul had the authority. Don't know exactly what the trouble is. But Paul says it doesn't matter to him. That what matters is that Christ is preached, Christ is proclaimed. And so he says whether they're preaching from false motives or whether they're preaching with sincerity and love, all that matters to him is that Christ is being preached and he's going to rejoice. He's not going to get drawn into a power struggle. Now, that is absolutely amazing to me. Now, we can be sure that if they weren't preaching Christ, then Paul would be all over that. And he would be wanting to correct them and he would be calling them out. But they're preaching the gospel. They're just not doing it with right motives or pure motives. And Paul's saying, I'm not going to get pulled into a power struggle. They're trying to stir up trouble for me, but I'm not going to bite. I'm not going to get into that power struggle. I'm simply going to rejoice that Christ is preached. Now, kind of wonder why he's telling the church this. I can't help but wonder if there's some type of power struggle going on in the church at Philippi. And it's easy to begin to question the motives of others, whether it's fellow pastors, whether it's fellow workers in the church, whether it's church leaders. It's easy to start questioning people's motives. Paul says, I'm not getting into that. I'm simply going to rejoice that Christ is being preached. Don't know where you're scattered at today. Don't know what power struggles people might be trying to draw you into. Don't know whose motives you might be questioning. But I would challenge you, I challenge myself, to learn a lesson from Paul here, that as long as Christ is being preached, rejoice. Don't get caught up. Don't get drawn into a power struggle or questioning people's motives. Simply rejoice that Christ is being preached. God bless. Have a great day and rejoice wherever the gospel is being proclaimed, no matter what the motives.